So 12 years ago, I bought this house from my aunt after she had moved to Texas, and I never thought that it would end like this. I thought that maybe I'd pass the house down to my kids, or maybe sell it to a family member or sell it on the market. However, a tornado ripped through St. Louis and literally was peeling the roof off of the homes on the north side, the west side, and then parts of Clayton. So a little backstory to the home again. The house that I purchased was my aunt's. It's been in my family for about 30 plus years. I've owned it for around 12 years. I bought the house when I was 25. And right next door, my cousins lived inside of that home, and it was passed down from my grandma and went through several family members. And that's been in the family for 60 plus years, right on the main street in St. Louis that runs pretty much from downtown all the way out to the county. So we had very deep roots here in the Greaterville area. So that's a little history of it. Family actually lives in my grandma. Me, I got bit by the real estate bug, so I actually used mine for an investment property. I rent it out to men who just want to worry about paying their monthly rent. They don't want to have to deal with utilities, with taxes, anything like that. They just want to pay their monthly rent. So those are the men that I serve. Unfortunately, all four have been displaced. They've either had to go and find another apartment or stay with friends and family just because it's not safe for them to stay in the building. So how I held the property as an investment property for men just looking for a room, it was a perfect location for it. While it is a poor community, it was directly on the bus line, right across the street from a full-service grocery store, right across the street from Family Dollar, from the library, from the Chinese restaurant, fish places. So if you live there and you weren't using public transit, and you didn't have a car, it was perfect for you. If you did have a car, of course, you can get wherever you need to. But the demographic of men that I serve, it was perfect for them. So that's a little backstory of the house. Let's go to the actual day of the storm. During the storm, so again, this took place in North St. Louis City. North St. Louis City, West St. Louis City, but it's still north in comparison to north and south. If you look at the city landscape is where it took place. Me and my family, we were actually down on the south side and had a doctor's appointment. So we were inside of a big hospital. So we didn't know anything that was going on the outside there. After we wrapped up the hospital, that's when we started getting phone calls, and my handyman called me, letting me know what happened. But he's called me before with sort of horrific stories of things that took place or things that had happened, what's going on. But it was always over exaggerated. But not today. This one was real. As soon as I started to hit some of the streets closer to get to my property, I noticed how traffic had just picked up so much. And I know the city, so I can go back routes, but that wasn't happening that day neither, because you had down power lines and you had down trees. And you can try to get through a back way through an alley to a street or something, but eventually you're going to hit a down tree. And if you have a bunch of people that start to follow you, it may be very hard for you all to back up out of the street, and you won't be able to do a U-turn. So your best bet was to stay on the main road, because the main road does not have that many trees, but the side road have a lot of trees, which if they fall, it's going to block the entire road until some of the crews or it's just people can get out there with their chainsaws and cut them up. So that's what I noticed on the first day. Everyone was frustrated. Everyone was like, we couldn't believe that it hit St. Louis City, because we normally hear about these things happening out in the suburbs or out in the rural areas. We never hear about it coming to St. Louis City. And even that day after we left the hospital, when we came over to the north side, again, frustration was thick. It was in the air. I saw a gentleman just walk down the street shooting up in the air. I know that it was just because he was frustrated about what had just happened. So you have people who had lost their entire homes. The roof came off of properties. Walls had fell in. So think about all of that debris and brick. Now it's mixed in with your clothes, mixed in with your shoes, mixed in with your personal belongings. You may have kids, so you have to get them out of the home. And if you don't have anyone to watch the kids, you can't just run back in there and try to start getting your personal things. It was just tornado, just super inconvenient. So that's what took place. So when I hit my property, I saw the entire roof gone, and from the corner, my property, my neighbor to the right, and then my neighbor to the left, which is my cousin, we all have the exact same construction, exact same architecture. All of our roofs were gone. I couldn't believe it. I had to keep going because my my sister and my nephew stay a few blocks up, and my wife wanted to check on them because we were calling them and we were getting no answer. We talked to some of the guys over at the house, and they were sitting down, and resources and people were starting to come across the street to help. So I went to check on them, and then I went after we picked them up because they lost power. We dropped them off at my personal and my primary residence in the University City area, which was not impacted, which was not impacted at nowhere near the level of the north and west side. Dropped them off there, and then I came back to my rental property just so I can get to work. Some of my priorities were just trying to get the back 2 rooms clean that lost the roof, because I knew that in a few days we had rain coming. So this was during the time when I was actually considering or thinking that maybe I can rebuild. Hey, maybe I can fix this thing. But reality really started to sit in the more and more I'm actually experiencing this for the first time. So again, I'm thinking about rebuilding. I'm thinking, hey, let me clean this up. I can do it. I'm going to do as much as I can. Throwing the brick out of the home and clearing away the debris. I have friends and coworkers come over as well to help me. And I call it a roofer that we use a lot just to tarp off the building, because I knew that the rain was coming, and I knew that my guys still had some of their personal belongings in the home. So I still wanted to get it tarped off. And then again, that was still a little part of me saying, hey, I'm going to rebuild this thing. But I got that done, and I met the adjuster and started talking with some other people and started to look around, and I'm like, man, it's a lot because my rebuilding probably would have been around $90,000 to $130,000 to. I had a wall fall in, I had electrical damage, entire roof gone, all of the rafters. Also, my property is on a hill and it's a 2-story home. So it on the north side, it sits pretty high up above a lot of the other homes in the area. And it just would have been very, very, very costly to rebuild, or it's really just to repair it. Exceeding what those property values are over there, and it actually exceeds what I would have gotten back for my insurance as well. And if I paint a picture, if I did, I don't know if sort of onesie, twosie repairs will work just for the attention that that neighborhood really needs. Because if I would have done that, I love my tenants. Let's say they get a raise on their job, or they move or somewhere, and they're gone. Even though they all have been with me for over a year, and my longest have been with me for 5 years, when they leave, I have to attract people back over to this area. And in the meantime, while I'm trying to attract people, I still have to take care of the overhead. So I can't just look at it as a personal residence, a primary residence. I also have to look at it as an investment. So it just really wasn't penciling to repair it or rebuild. Now, as a property owner over there, as an investor over there, as someone with deep family roots, I know that the next thing that I can do is to at least make sure that my grounds look good. So demolition is my next mission that I may be looking at, just to get everything cleared. And I'll have my guy Gary, he'll still be over there cutting the grass, just maintaining it, and get a fence built around my property. And I'll sit on the land until it's the right move to maybe reinvest. If I don't see it in my lifetime, I'll hand it down to my kids. And then when it's the right time for them to reinvest, who knows, maybe it'll be a better time to start to build, or else to sell to someone who would start to build. That's really what's going through my head now with the property. So something that I did do was some of the tradesmen that I knew, also another landlord, I let them have some of my appliances. So I had coin-operated washer and dryer. I gave that to a fellow landlord. Also, I had a new furnace that was about 2 years old, and a water heater that was maybe about 3 to 4 years old, that I let my HVAC tech come and get it, because as these homes sit, also with the city going around putting stickers on your door that you're not supposed to be in here for no more than 15 minutes a day, the vandals are going to start coming in. And I would rather for those systems and appliances to go toward somebody who's going to actually put it into powering another home, as opposed to a vandal or a scrapper just coming in, breaking it down, and taking it to the scrapyard for pennies. So that's another measure that I took, was letting them come in and get anything that they saw that was valuable system wise. I had 2 more refrigerators and a stove that I'm also going to let our alarm guy take as well. And then from there, it'll just be getting it secure, finalize my bid on on getting the building torn down and just making sure that I maintain the lot. Something that St. Louis City is doing is your insurance payouts. They're holding a portion until they make sure that you cleaned up the debris from your lot. So they're being very careful about people just getting their insurance money and abandoning and leaving the city. Because, and I can understand the intent. I don't really like them holding my money, but I can't understand the intent. But again, my character, I'm going to make sure that my grounds look good, that everything is clear. I'll have the professionals out doing what they can. Anything that's left over, I'll make sure that it's in the dumpster, and then I'm just maintaining the yard like normal. So that's what's going on with me, St. Louis. With the storm, with the aftermath. Huge thank you to all of the volunteers, all of the tradesmen, the electricians, everyone, from day one. So again, I live directly across from a grocery store, so there's a parking lot where volunteers can sort of come together. We've had volunteers out feeding the people, giving away toiletries, playing music, having games for kids. And it's been very, very, very encouraging, because as you drive the city, right? So think about if a tornado just hit and it pulled off your roof. It's a little hard to see it until you get exactly up on the building or near where you're really trying to look at. But now you're starting to see colorful tags on doors and bright tarps. So you can look down the street or look at an entire area and just see with a wide lens the aftermath of the damage, as opposed to just things being damaged. You can't really see it from afar, but now from afar you can, like, it's rows of tarps. And that's letting you know that either the roof was pulled off or there's very bad roof damage, and they're trying to just protect the inside of the home. That's how it looks now. It's tough for areas like this to bounce back. It happened to a very, very, very poor part of St. Louis, to where it was already distressed and depressed in the area, and then for something like this to happen, it can be very tough to bounce back. So again, there's programs making sure that people's deeds are clear and they know how to protect their property. So I'm hoping for the best for all of my neighbors. I think I've come to the decision of what I'm going to be doing in terms of my property. And yeah. If you can, make sure that you donate, make sure that you volunteer. Never look down on communities. I've not looked down on them, but sort of like, man, it's looking rough over here, such as areas like Kenlock, East St. Louis, Detroit, and now I'm experiencing it firsthand. And then even years to come, 2-3 years down the line, it can still look like that. So I understand how hard it can be for communities to bounce back. So forgive me, I would never ever turn my nose up at a community, because you never know when it can hit you. So this is my YouTube channel. This is a little outside of my niche. I'm normally talking about real estate and all of the upside of real estate, but there's also a downside. It's also a real side of real estate, which can come at a very inconvenient time that you weren't expecting, but you got to be able to just keep moving forward, leverage professionals, leverage any type of resources that they're giving out. Do not be too proud to beg. Don't be prideful during this time. Like you have to go out and get whatever you can and make sure that your needs are met. So if you enjoy content like this, again, my name is John. You can subscribe to my channel. I'll have more updates on what comes about with this particular property. I have another flip that I'll be working on in another part of town. And then I also have another property that was damaged from the storm, but it was not damaged as bad as my property on the north side in St. Louis City. So I plan on documenting that as well. So I'm dropping at least one video a week. So I'll see you guys next week.